They say the earth remembers everything, every step we've taken, every song we've forgotten to sing. In the high deserts of New Mexico, under a crimson sky, an old Navajo healer once whispered to a wandering traveler, "Your sickness is not in your body, it's in your disconnection." That sentence alone could unravel the mystery of modern suffering, because in a world racing forward, filled with noise, screens, and endless hunger for more, humanity has forgotten the oldest medicine of all, connection to spirit, nature, and the breath that unites them both. Modern science calls it stress. Native wisdom calls it soul loss. We lose parts of ourselves in the chase for success. In trauma, we never heal, and in the silence, we never allow. Yet for thousands of years, Native American healers understood how to bring the soul back home. Through breath, rhythm, ceremony, and communion with the unseen. This isn't superstition. It's an art form of remembering who we are. Tonight, we travel deep into those sacred teachings. We'll rediscover how to breathe life back into the spirit, how to hear the ancestors in the wind, and how to awaken the healing power already inside you. The hidden wound is not visible on the skin. It doesn't bleed or scar, yet it shapes every thought, every fear, every restless night. It is the wound of disconnection from the earth, from our ancestors, from our own spirit. For Native American elders, this disconnection is the root of all suffering. They say that when a person forgets the song of their people, their soul begins to drift. Without ceremony, without gratitude, without balance, the human heart becomes hollow. In our modern age, this wound has become an epidemic. We scroll endlessly, we consume without meaning, and we fill our silence with noise. Depression and anxiety have become the silent languages of a disconnected world. Yet deep inside, there is a longing, an ache that reminds us of something ancient. It is the whisper of the ancestors calling us back home. Native healers teach that this pain isn't punishment. It's a message. The sadness, the emptiness, the exhaustion, they are signals from the soul saying, "Remember me." Healing begins not by running from the pain, but by listening to it. To reconnect is to honor the invisible thread that ties you to those who came before. The path of return is not about going backward in time. It's about awakening the wisdom that has always lived inside you. In Native American traditions, healing is not a quick fix. It is a journey of remembrance. Every breath, every drumbeat, every prayer is a bridge between the seen and the unseen, between your present self and the spirit of your ancestors who walked this earth before you. To walk this path, one must first listen. The elders say, healing begins when we quiet the noise long enough to hear the heartbeat of the earth. Sit by the fire, they say. Listen to the wind. Feel the rhythm of your breath. These are the languages of creation, speaking directly to the spirit. When you listen deeply, you begin to recognize that you are not separate from life. You are woven into it. Ancestral connection is more than memory. It's energy. It's the resonance of stories, songs, and love passed down through generations. When you honor them, through ritual, through prayer, through gratitude, you awaken their strength within you. You begin to walk differently, speak differently, and breathe with purpose. The path of return is a homecoming for the soul. Among Native peoples, the breath is not just air, it is spirit. It is the bridge between the physical and the divine, the visible and the invisible. The Lakota call it Nia, the breath of life that carries your essence. The Cherokee speak of it as Tsunegv, the sacred wind within. When a child is born, the first breath is the Creator's gift. When we exhale our last, that gift returns home. Every breath in between is an opportunity to connect, to remember, to heal. In many tribes, breath was the first medicine. Before herbs, before song, before prayer, there was the breath. The elders knew that if your breathing was shallow, your life would be shallow. When your breath is deep, steady, and conscious, your soul finds rhythm again. It's through the breath that one aligns with the heartbeat of Mother Earth, the drum of existence itself. The breath carries memory. It holds stories, emotions, and even ancestral echoes. When you breathe with intention, you release what has been trapped, pain, grief, anger, and invite back what was lost, peace, clarity, and connection. Breathwork, in native understanding, is a sacred ceremony happening within you every moment you choose to become aware. Modern science is finally beginning to echo what native healers have known for centuries. The body, mind, and spirit are not separate. They are one living system. In laboratories and universities, researchers now speak of what the elders always understood intuitively. Our breath, emotions, and thoughts directly shape our biology. The sacred teachings of the ancestors and the findings of modern neuroscience are beginning to merge into a single language of truth. Neuroscientists have discovered that slow, rhythmic breathing can shift the nervous system from a state of stress to calm within minutes. It lowers cortisol, slows the heart rate, and activates the vagus nerve, the body's healing switch. Meanwhile, psychologists studying trauma have found that many emotional wounds live in the body, not just the mind. Breathwork can help release these memories, much like the ceremonial purification rituals that native shamans practice to cleanse the spirit. Epigenetics adds another layer to this ancient wisdom. Scientists have shown that trauma can be passed down through generations, altering how genes express themselves. Native elders have long spoken of this same truth in spiritual language. They call it ancestral burden. And just as science shows that healing can also be inherited, traditional healers remind us that when one person heals, the entire lineage begins to mend. The meeting point between science and spirituality is not a place of conflict, but of harmony. The microscope and the medicine drum are both instruments of understanding. One sees the invisible through magnification, the other through vibration. Both reveal the same sacred design, that every breath is a message, every heartbeat a prayer, and every act of healing a return to wholeness. When a person breathes consciously, neurons fire differently. The frontal lobe lights up, creativity expands, and emotional regulation strengthens. It's as if the ancient practice of deep breathing was a natural form of meditation long before we had the language to define it. The elders who taught these ways did not speak of neuroplasticity, but they understood transformation. Through breath and prayer, they restructured the spirit. And that, in essence, is what modern science now calls rewiring the brain. So the bridge between science and spirit is already built. All we need to do is cross it, with awareness, humility, and breath as our guide. Before beginning any sacred breathwork or healing practice, the mind must be prepared, not just quieted, but aligned. In Native American tradition, preparation is itself a form of prayer. It is the act of clearing the noise within so that the soul can listen. The elders teach that every ceremony begins long before the first breath or drumbeat. It begins in intention. Find a space that feels alive, not sterile. It could be outdoors beneath a tree, near a window where the sun enters, or by a candle flame that flickers like the heartbeat of the ancestors. This space becomes your circle, your sacred ground. If you wish, you may hold a stone, a feather, or a bowl of water, symbols of the elements that make up life. But more important than any object is your sincerity. Close your eyes and feel the air around you. Imagine that with every inhale, you are gathering your scattered energy, the fragments of yourself lost to worry, regret, and distraction. With every exhale, release the weight of stories that no longer belong to you. The breath will respond to your focus. The quieter your thoughts become, the deeper your breath will flow. Setting intention is essential. Ask yourself, why am I here? Do you seek healing, clarity, connection? Whisper it silently to the breath, for it carries messages beyond words. The ancestors hear not with ears, but through vibration, and your breath is their language. In some tribes, before a healing ritual, participants would cleanse themselves with sage or sweetgrass smoke, letting the fragrant curls lift away stagnant energy. Others would dip their hands in running water to symbolize release. You may adapt this to your own space. Wash your hands, light a candle, breathe deeply. The point is not imitation, but communion, aligning your spirit with purpose. When the mind is calm and the heart open, the body becomes a vessel of medicine. The ceremony begins not when you start breathing, but when you surrender to being present. It is this surrender, gentle, trusting, full of reverence, that allows the breath to work its quiet miracle. Now that the space is sacred and your intention has been spoken, we enter the heart of the practice, the breath itself. This technique, drawn from native-inspired ceremonial breathwork, honors the rhythm of nature. The inhale as the gathering of life, the exhale as the offering of life back to the world. You are not forcing anything. You are remembering how to breathe as the earth does. Slowly, cyclically, consciously. Sit comfortably with your spine tall but relaxed. Place one hand on your heart, the other on your belly. Close your eyes. Feel the pulse beneath your palm. That steady rhythm is your connection to all that lives. Now take a slow, deliberate inhale through your nose. Let the air travel deep into your belly, then up into your chest. Hold for a brief moment, not in tension, but in gratitude. Then exhale gently through your mouth, as if releasing a prayer. This is the sacred breath pattern. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 2, exhale for 6. The longer exhale calms the nervous system and invites the spirit to open. Repeat this rhythm for several minutes. With each inhale, imagine drawing in light, the golden warmth of the sun, the wisdom of the ancestors. With each exhale, see darkness leaving your body, old fears, grief, anger, stories that no longer serve you. After a few cycles, your mind will quiet, and your breath will begin to lead you. Let it. The air becomes your teacher, your medicine. You may feel tingling in your fingers, warmth in your chest, or even tears rising. These are signs of energy shifting, emotion uncoiling from where it has been hidden. Do not resist it. Breathe through it. In native ceremony, tears are not weakness. They are the spirit's way of washing the soul clean. If your thoughts wander, return to the sound of your breath. Hear it as the ocean, eternal and vast. You may even whisper softly a phrase as you breathe, something like, "I remember," or "I am home." The repetition roots you deeper into the present moment. After about 10 minutes, begin to slow your breath naturally. Let it settle into a gentle rhythm. Place both hands over your heart and feel gratitude, not only for what has been released, but for the sacred life moving through you now. In that stillness, listen. You may hear the faint song of your ancestors, not with your ears, but with your soul. When the breath begins to open the spirit, a subtle transformation unfolds. It is not dramatic or forced. It is quiet, ancient, and profoundly real. The inner vision begins to awaken, the space where memory, emotion, and spirit meet. In this moment, you are no longer merely a body breathing. You become a bridge between worlds. As your breath deepens, sensations arise. You might feel warmth radiating from your chest, as if a fire has been kindled inside. You might feel a pulsing energy in your fingertips, or a gentle vibration in your spine. These are not random. They are the pathways of energy, what some tribes call the rivers of spirit. They carry the messages of the ancestors, flowing through your very being. You may begin to see colors behind your closed eyes, gold, indigo, or deep red, or visions of places you've never visited, yet somehow remember. Sometimes, an image of a loved one, long past, may appear. Other times, it's the sound of a drum, distant but familiar. This is the language of the soul, speaking in symbols and sensations rather than words. The key is not to analyze, but to receive. Emotions may surface like waves: grief, laughter, peace, or even unexplainable joy. In native ceremonies, this is called the rising of the song. Each emotion is a note in the symphony of healing. If tears fall, let them. If you feel laughter bubbling up, allow it. The breath is moving energy through you, purifying, realigning, and returning balance where there was once heaviness. Some people describe the moment after such a session as a silence beyond silence, a stillness that hums. In that silence, the boundaries between you and the world dissolve. You feel the presence of something vast and loving. The elders call it the great mystery, the sacred intelligence that weaves all things together. You understand, not intellectually, but experientially, that you are part of that web. You always have been. When the vision softens and the energy settles, take a final deep breath and rest in stillness. Feel the ground beneath you, the steady heartbeat of the earth, anchoring you back to the present. Whisper a quiet thank you to the ancestors, to your breath, to the life within you that never stopped calling you home. In this state, healing is not an idea. It is a living presence. You have touched the invisible, and the invisible has touched you back. When the ceremony of breath is complete, the transformation continues long after the final exhale. The benefits do not arrive all at once. They unfold gently, like dawn over the horizon. In native wisdom, healing is not a single event, but a rhythm, a dance between your spirit and the living world. Each time you breathe consciously, you send a message through your body saying, I am alive. I am remembering. Physically, consistent practice begins to reset the nervous system. Deep, rhythmic breathing enhances oxygen flow to every cell, detoxifies the blood, and restores the body's natural balance between activity and rest. Many people report sleeping better, feeling lighter, and experiencing fewer stress symptoms. The tension that once coiled in the shoulders and chest starts to melt away. The body, no longer trapped in survival mode, begins to thrive again. Emotionally, breathwork clears the fog that has long clouded the heart. Buried grief surfaces and releases, often leaving behind a calm sense of clarity. Old wounds that once dictated behavior lose their power. With every session, you reclaim a piece of yourself once lost to pain or distraction. The constant background hum of anxiety quiets, replaced by a grounded stillness, a trust that you can handle life's storms because you have rediscovered your inner anchor. Spiritually, the results are profound. Through this simple, sacred act of breathing, you begin to sense the unseen world again. You might feel your ancestors near, not as ghosts, but as presence, loving, guiding, familiar. You recognize that the same breath moving through you is moving through the trees, the rivers, and the sky. This awareness births humility, gratitude, and reverence. You begin to live differently, slower, kinder, more aware of the sacred in every moment. People who practice this form of breathwork often describe their lives beginning to align. Relationships improve because compassion replaces reaction. Creativity flows where fear once lived. Health stabilizes because the body and spirit are no longer at war. Most importantly, purpose reawakens. You begin to see your life not as random, but as a continuation of an ancestral dream, one that you are now consciously shaping. The elders teach that when one person heals, 7 generations before and 7 generations after are touched. The echoes of your breath ripple through time. The healing that began in you extends to those you love and even to those you will never meet. This is the sacred responsibility of awakening. To breathe, not just for yourself, but for all your relations, human, animal, plant, and spirit alike. So when you finish your practice, do not rush back into the noise. Sit for a moment in gratitude. Feel the rhythm of your heart syncing with the pulse of the earth. Whisper softly, "I am whole," because you are. And each breath from this point forward is a promise to never forget again. Now, as we come to the end of this journey, pause for a moment and feel the weight of everything you've remembered. The breath, the ancestors, the earth, all of it has been waiting patiently for you to return. Healing, as the native elders teach, is not found in some distant mountain or hidden temple. It begins with the courage to come home to yourself. You are the ceremony. You are the sacred fire. You are the continuation of all who came before you. If this message has stirred something in you, a longing, a remembering, do not let it fade. Carry it into your life. Practice the sacred breath each day, even for just a few minutes. Let it remind you that every inhale is a gift, and every exhale an offering. Share this wisdom with others, so they too may awaken to the rhythm of the earth that beats within us all. The world is starving for this kind of remembrance. When you breathe with awareness, you are not only healing yourself, you are healing the collective soul of humanity. You become a living bridge between past and future, between matter and spirit. That is the true legacy of native healing. Not secrecy, but sharing. Not escape, but reconnection. So take one last deep breath now. Feel your chest rise, your heart expand, and your spirit align. Whisper your gratitude to the ancestors who walked this path long before you, and to the generations yet to come who will breathe because you remembered. You are part of the great circle of life, unbroken, eternal, and whole.